Hey everybody, good morning and welcome to Chassidus in the morning, 15 minutes, Chanukah edition. The maamer we're learning is Tanu Rabanan Mitzvah from Tafshin Lamed Ches. I'm learning from this sefer, but you can use any sefer you would like. This shir is in honor or for shleimah to Elka Rochel bas Aleeza, and for shleimah for Chaim Refael Ben Sarah and Bentzion Ben Sarah and Chaim Baruch Eliezer Ben Raisa Esther. Okay, we have a new addition to the class, which is the microphone. Hopefully, the quality of the sound will be better. And sorry for yesterday. Pretty crazy story. Actually, walking back from shul today, I saw the same guy again. Not the people attacking us, but the guy that protected himself. Yeah. Okay. Let's begin. So essentially, this is a maamer from the Rebbe. The Rebbe said in his office, and it's going to be a little bit of a change up from what we did before. And so basically, in short, the Rebbe is going to ask a few questions in the beginning today about the logic behind some of the things that happen on Chanukah. And then we're going to get into the meat of the maamer. And the way generally the Rebbe's maamer work is that the questions are sort of there to lead you in. But then the meat of the maamer is the perspective the Rebbe is trying to give us, trying to teach us something, trying to get us to see the world in a specific way, see ourselves, and with that, be able to conquer ourselves and the world around us and bring Mashiach. And that's what we're going to see here as well, this idea. Let's begin in this sefer. It's page 255. And let's begin. Tanu Rabanan says in the Gemara, Misach Shabbos, a rabbi started in the Raisa, Mitzvas near Chanukah, the Mitzvah, the light of Chanukah, Chulus. Beis Shammai says, Yom Rishon Madlik Shmeina, Mekam ve'elech Pachas ve'elech. It says in the Gemara, Beis Shammai says that on the first day of Chanukah, you would light 8 candles. And then every day you go down, you decrease. Beis Hillel says, Yom Rishon Madlik Achas. Beis Hillel says, and this is what we do, the first day we light 1 candle, and then you add till you get to 8. So now, what's the reasoning behind what they say? The reasoning of Beis Shammai is because he says it's keneged parachag, like the parim, like the cows that were brought or the bulls that were brought on Sukkos. On Sukkos, the way it was brought, it was just, I think it was like 70 in the first day, and it constantly decreased every day on the 8 days of Sukkos. So he's saying so too, just like on Sukkos, it had the most and it came down, so too. And every day one less was brought, so too with Chanukah. First it would be 8, and slowly comes down. But Beis Hillel, and the reason of Beis Hillel, Beis Hillel's reasoning for why we do it, why we add every day, is because this concept of Ma'il Makedesh, you add in holiness. So we have 2 different opinions. You have Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai says you start with 8 and you keep on going down, decrease. The last you'll have 1. Beis Hillel says you start with 1, you go up to 8. And the reasoning behind their opinion is that Beis Shammai says it's like Sukkos. And on the Sukkos you have the Karbanos, and the Karbanos started with a lot and then every day decreased. So to here. So now the Rebbe's gonna analyze all this. We do and understand what the Alter Rebbe asked on these ideas. The first obvious question is, what's the connection between Sukkos and Chanukah? We're saying because on Sukkos we have so many cows and we decrease every day, so therefore also on Chanukah we should decrease. What's the connection between Chanukah and Sukkos? That's the first question. But Frat, and specifically, I think and even more, the Tzemach says, Shigam Beis Hillel loy pligei rak mishum de Ma'il Makedesh. Beis Hillel is not arguing with this concept. He's not arguing that it makes sense to put it this way, to say that just like on Sukkos, you start off with more and you decrease every day, so to Chanukah should happen this way. He doesn't disagree with Beis Hillel. He's just saying that this concept of Ma'il Makedesh, and that's why you should do it. That's what the Tzemach says, which means that there's a lot of validity to this, but seemingly, what's the connection? In this, some places it says, some people say, you know what the connection is? It's obvious. Well, what's the question? The birth 8 days. There's no other festival 8 days. Besides these two. And what is 8 reference to? We learn Chassidus, and that 8 is above nature. Nature is in sevens. You have 7 days of the week. You know, Shemitah goes with 7 times 7, things like this. And so 8 is talking about higher than Sedish Tashus, meaning above nature, above the natural order. And the Bertim have this aspect of the above nature. And that's why they connected. There is a Guvatach. So it says, so, fine, they do both have 8, and this 8 can show us on this level above nature. That itself needs to be understood. So the question sort of, we're moving the question, moving the goalpost. The question is not what connection do they have, but what connection do they have to 8? What does it mean that what's their connection to higher than Sedish Tashlis? How do we see Chanukah and Sukkah as being Lamayim Sedish Tashlis? That's the reason why the 8 days. Meaning the reason why the 8 days was they show on the higher than Sedish Tashlis. Being at the higher than Sedish Tashlis, so therefore it comes out, expresses itself in this 8 days. And furthermore, so that's already 2 questions. We had the first question was, what's the connection between Sukkot and Chanukah? Second of all, so we try to answer by saying it's really because the birth 8, which is 8 L'mayim Seish Talshus. So we said, so the next question is, so what's their connection between L'mayim Seish Talshus? Thirdly, V'gam, Raisa, Shetiknu Neres Chanukah, Hu Mipnei Neisha Neres and Mikdash. The reason why we're celebrating Chanukah is what happened in the base of Mikdash with the menorah. Now, Mikevan Shabbat Mikdash, since in the menorah and the base of Mikdash there was 7 candles. The Madua B'Chanukah Yishmona Neres V'Yamim. So why is Chanukah having 8 candles in 8 days? If it's referencing, it's the whole story of Chanukah is about what happened in the base of Mikdash. The base of Mikdash is only 7. So why are we doing 8? The Gam Tzarech Lahavin, and another question, Ma Shah Fergleich, which is the hashva, the connection, the comparison of Neres Chanukah, who loy lechag Sukkot b'chlal, and even more deeply, the connection between Chanukah and Sukkot is not the Sukkot in general, elo l'parei chag. It's the bulls that were brought. Yeah, because Beis Shammai says that it's you go Shmeina and then you go down. Why? It's connected to the Parachag. Just like the Parachag, where it started off with more and it decreased, so too the Chanukah and Menorah should decrease. So he says, what's the connection between specifically that? Because Neres Chanukah Sheyach Menorah. Neres Chanukah connected with the Menorah. Neres Chanukah Hemipnei Neisha Neres Menorah. The whole Chanukah Menorah is because it's connected to the Menorah that was the base of Mikdash. But Uparachag, whereas the carbon of Sukkot, Hikrivu, Yechal Karbanos is brought like all the Karbanos. Al Gabam Mizbeach, on the Mizbeach. So you're talking about two different avodas in the base of Mikdash. The 2 different vessels, 2 different parts of the base of Mikdash. And even more, as explained in Kabbalah and Chassidus, Veneres, Karbanos, avodas shonos are 2 different avodas. So we're making comparison, 2 different things. Comparing apples and oranges. Until it's not just the different avodas. It says that the menorah is a greater avodah than the karbanos. So and it says by the menorah is never going to be batal, whereas the karbanos are. Mashiach comes later on in the later stage of Mashiach comes. So how are we comparing the 2 then? They're incomparable. The Gam Tzarech Lahavin need to understand. Masha mitzvahs shel ner Chanukah, the mitzvahs of the light of Chanukah. Mishatishka hachama. Another question: when do we light the menorah? When the sun is setting. Now, the Gam Tzarech Lahavin. Masha mitzvah ner Chanukah mishtash hachama. Yadua hadirk v'zer. The neros amikdash idliku mi plaga mincha. The menorah in the base of Mikdash was lit when? By plaga mincha, which is sha'ar revia kedim ashkia. An hour and a quarter before Shkia, whereas the menorah we light dafk in Shkia. We daven mincha, and then we light the menorah dafk by Shkia. So it's not even we're not even doing it the way they did in the Beis Mikdash. Why? The cave is near Chanukah. Since the whole miracle that we're celebrating on Chanukah is about the menorah that was in the base of Mikdash. Specifically, like it says that when the Rabanan make a takana, when they decrease something, they try to make it similar. The Raisa. And the Raisa was the menorah. And say, menorah and Chanukah, we're comparing to the menorah of Mikdash. So why wouldn't we light it at the same time they lit it? That would make a lot of sense. So it would make sense, seemingly, to light it at the same time they did in the base of Mikdash. So then why is the mitzvah specifically when the sun is set? Different timing. So what we're seeing here is that the menorah, we're trying to say so there's a few questions. We'll go through all the questions. So we have the first question is, we understand that the menorah is according to Beis Hillel, we're comparing it to the Parei Chag, we're comparing it to Sukkos. So what's the connection between Chanukah and Sukkos? And even more, people say the connection is really that it's 8. So how are they both 8, which is showing the L'mayim Seder Shtalshus, how they're both high in Seder Shtalshus? We understand this. Once you understand that connection between Chanukah and Sukkot doesn't really make a good connection because they're two different avodas in the base of Mikdash. So how are we comparing them? It's comparing apples and oranges. And another question is the fact that when do we light the menorah? We light it by Shkia, whereas in the base of Mikdash it's much earlier. And also, why is the menorah 7? Why is our menorah 8? Where the menorah of Mikdash, which we're commemorating, is only 7. So we're trying to commemorate something, but we're not commemorating properly. Commemorate, matzah by eating challah. That doesn't two separate things. So we have to understand all these things. So we have a little bit of time. So we're gonna continue going. So now this is the beginning. This is sort of the introduction. The Rebbe is trying to give you some questions, but that's not the meat of the maamer. And you shouldn't get caught up with the questions. We should understand the questions, and we should appreciate the answer when we get it, because you're gonna start answering already. But more, the appreciation of learning a maamer. When I was a bach and I would learn, so you think everything's about the question and the answer. But really, it's really about the meat of the maamer. The meat of the maamer is the message the Rebbe is trying to give you. The Rebbe could have just given you the question and the answer. Say, hey, look at all these questions, and you go to the back normally, and you'll find the answers and done. But there's a whole middle part, because that middle part is there that the Rebbe is trying to help us, teach us how to our perspective, how to see the world, how to see ourselves. And that's what we're going to start to do slowly. And now the answer in short, the last things we talked about. In Yanim Shal Neres Chanukah Hu Laharis Achoshesh. The whole purpose of the Chanukah menorah is to light up the darkness. So Dehine Haneis the Chanukah Haya La'achash Nichos Yivanim VeHeichel V'Timu Kol Hashmonim Sheveheichel. So what happened? What happened in the case of Chanukah? The miracle was that the Greeks came in, they contaminated all the oil that was in the base of Mikdash. And then his Gabra Achoshech, the Yavanim, and this darkness of the Yavanim that they came to destroy all the oil of the base of Mikdash was overcame. We won the war, and then we were able to find some oil. And there, what they did was so bad. The loy rak shenichnasu lehechel v'timu, not just they came into the hechel, into the sanctuary, and they contaminated it, and they violated it. They contaminated all the oil that's in the hechel. Meaning it was, and you can see here, and especially this brings it out. It was very specific what they were doing. It wasn't just haphazardly destroying the place. They really had something very sinister behind what they were doing. What's the shmanim? What's the oils? The shemen who bechinas kodesh. Shemen is holy. Holy is separated. Oil, a holy anointment. That oil is something that separates. Kadosh means separated. Kadosh mila begameh. It's a full letter. It's on its own. It's only a separate thing. And what they were trying to do, they're trying to destroy the kedusha. It wasn't so much just to show what's going on and just to show them the heichel, but it was they wanted to get into a deep level. I don't want to take up too much time, so we'll continue tomorrow. Thank you everyone for joining, and